Sound money is the very foundation of our prosperity.
I'll share with you a little bit of personal experience. Great countries have succumbed to the temptation of manipulating money and credit. We all remember the Germany of the past. I come from Argentina. I lived 30 years in Argentina and 26 in the United States. I'm a proud American citizen. And I saw how the manipulation of money and credit became an essential element to destroy rule of law, to corrupt the morals of my native country.
Let me say, as we gather here today, that I want to commend Atlas and I want to commend FreedomWorks for talking about things that are foundational in our society. I've been in Washington, D.C. for 10 years, and too often it seems that the event horizon that Washington, D.C. considers is the next headline, is the next week, it's the next quarter, it's the next year. What we ought to be thinking about is the next generation. What we ought to be thinking about is how can we once again build American prosperity on the foundation upon which she was originally built. There's nothing that ails this economy that cannot be cured by returning to the time-honored principles of pro-growth tax policies, a sound dollar, regulatory reform, access to American energy, and expanded trade. But I'll leave one other thought as well. In the midst of these difficult economic times, as we pursue these timeless and time-honored policies that have always and will always create economic growth, let's recognize one more thing. Let's recognize that our present crisis is not just economic and political, but moral in nature. Any observer of these times in which we live should recognize that people in positions of authority, from Wall Street to Washington, D.C., have walked away from the timeless principles of honesty and integrity, an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, and the simple notion that you ought to treat the other person the way that you want to be treated. Truth is, we got to get back to basics. Public policy alone will not cure what ails the American economy and restore American economic greatness. It will take public virtue, for it was on the foundation of the character of this nation that our boundless prosperity was created. And so as we consider policies to strengthen the marketplace, let us also repair and to strengthen those institutions, traditional family and organized religion, that nurture the character of the nation. For if the foundations crumble, how can a nation stand? Thank you very much. It's an honor to address you today, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Entrepreneurs are the enrichers of society. They deserve sound money. They need that stable foundation to make their plans, to build that product or develop that service so they achieve their own aspirations and benefit society in the process. It sounds a lot like what Adam Smith had in mind. But the invisible hand cannot function properly to maximize economic opportunity, to deliver maximum prosperity, if the money doesn't provide an accurate unit of account and a reliable store of value. Which brings us to the core principles of sound money. You'll find them in the back of this guide, which is being made available today as a joint project of the Atlas Economic Research Foundation and FreedomWorks. 100,000 copies are being distributed in the initial run because we want people to understand that money, sound money, should be seen as a fundamental right of a free people. The integrity of money should be upheld as a vital element of free markets and not be compromised to serve as an instrument of government policy.